All right, guys, I got some big breaking news that came out today here for you. So, NPR found 53 missing Trump pages in the Epstein files, okay? And come to find out, they were able to deduce that these are about Trump. These are missing Epstein files about Trump that the FBI and the DOJ are illegally redacting. So, that right off the bat here is a massive, massive deal. But after that, we learn, listen to this, quote, MS Now reports there is at least one witness for whom 3 interviews with the FBI in rapid succession in 2019 are missing from the Epstein files. We can also confirm that woman is the same person who in a 2025 FBI presentation is identified to have accused Donald Trump of sexual assault when she was between 13 and 15 years old. So, what we've been able to find out is, ladies and gentlemen, this is about Katie Johnson. For those of you who don't know, look it up immediately. Type into the YouTube search bar, Secular Talk Katie Johnson. We covered her whole interview. Now, she's using an alias. Her real name is not Katie Johnson, okay? And she also blurred her face. But she told her story in the past because in 2016, she sued both Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein for trafficking her, Donald Trump for sexually assaulting her and raping her. And she said, for example, that Trump forced her to give him a hand job, also got violent with her and I think other girls as well, that effectively it was like, Epstein had sex slaves and he was trafficking these girls and Donald Trump would frequent these Epstein orgies. And she's told her story for a long time. Now, what happened was in 2016, she ended up dropping the case and people speculated, well, okay, did she get paid off to drop the case? That's a possibility because, again, the lawsuit came during the first Trump campaign in 2016. Or the other thing people said was maybe she got threatened. Maybe she got threatened. There's been accusations of Trump threatening people who, have damning information on him for a long time. So maybe she was threatened and that's why she dropped the lawsuit, okay? Well, apparently the FBI thought Katie Johnson's story was legitimate enough and credible enough to interview her 3 separate times. That was in the Epstein files, and that was illegally redacted by Pam Bondi. Insane. So this is, I've lost count. Have they violated the Epstein Transparency Act now 100 times? Is that what they've done? They're probably getting close to it, but I'll tell you this is the biggest one so far. Because now we're talking about potential smoking gun evidence, or as Trump would say, smocking gun evidence that the president of the United States is a pedophile rapist. That's what we're talking about here. Again, I want to reiterate, if you don't know the details, you don't know the specifics, do yourself a favor, type in Secular Talk Katie Johnson, or if you type in like Secular Talk Epstein bombshell or something like that, the video should come up. And we went through her whole testimony that she gave in 2016. Everybody was wondering where she went, why the lawsuit was dropped. She potentially was threatened, but the FBI thought this story was credible. And so now we're talking about a 13-year-old. She went from when she was 13 to when she was 15, being trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein, and the details of the abuse that Trump did to her and other girls. This is just mind-boggling at this point, man. Absolutely mind-boggling. So yet again, we're vindicated in telling you all the stuff. Donald Trump was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. That's not me speaking. That is Jeffrey Epstein speaking. He said it on tape to Michael Wolff. We've played the tape for you on this show. They were like this. They were 2 peas in a pod, man. We also have at Mar-a-Lago. Remember, they were subpoenaed in the Ghislaine Maxwell investigation because investigators thought Mar-a-Lago was the hub of the human trafficking, the child trafficking. He took all the girls from the spa. No, Trump sent them to him from the spa. They were in cahoots. Trump is probably a co-conspirator. That's why they're illegally redacting this stuff. So this is a major, major bombshell. Spread this far and wide, man. Trump is caught. This is insane. They need to unredact that and release it immediately. They have to do it. And while I'm on the topic, let me point out that the Democrats have invited and are bringing a bunch of Epstein survivors to Trump's State of the Union. I love that. I love that they did that. Also, Thomas Massie is going to cross the aisle and sit with Democrats and sit with Ro Khanna in a show of solidarity against the Epstein class. Because Massie knows, just as good as any of us here on the left, that they are protecting a billionaire pedophile cabal. These are sadistic elites running a shadow government, and Massie knows that Trump is protecting them, and Trump is the head of the snake, of the billionaire pedophile cabal. He's the head of the snake. So just incredible stuff there. I also need to point this out. Now, to be clear, this is speculation. This is a rumor. This is not confirmed. This is not verified, okay? But having said that, the chatter is happening online, and I'm going to share it with you here. Trump may declare war on Iran during his State of the Union address to Congress. He might actually do that. Israeli media cites a senior U.S. official in saying that. This is according to Anonymous, the hacker group Anonymous. They're posting about this on social media. Not confirmed, but there is chatter out there. And I will say, I can see it happen. I could see that potentially happening because you know how Trump is. We look at that and we think only a psychopath would do something like that. He thinks of that as, oh, I'm going to be such a badass. I'm going to be such a macho man. I'm going to be such a tough guy. And I'm going to be in the history books in a way that no other U.S. president was for doing a stunt like this. And we all know he's all about the stunts, right? So not verified, but I did want to share that with you. We also have Israeli media saying that an attack on Iran is imminent and will happen, quote, soon. How soon? We're going to find out together. But Marco Rubio was apparently briefing leaders in the House and the Senate today, and that's another red flag to me because they only do that either just before or just after they do an attack, okay? They like to keep them out of the loop as much as possible, illegally, because, of course, Congress would actually have to vote on it if you're following the Constitution anytime we go to war, but they totally ignore that. Like, that's an afterthought for them if it's anything at all. But Marco Rubio was talking to them today. That's also a red flag. That's also something that's scary because that tells me something's on the way, bro. Something's on the way. Now, having said that, there's been a lot of stories being leaked to the media recently about how we're not prepared for this. The U.S. is not prepared for this. Trump ordered a ship that was already at sea for 6 months, and they were only supposed to be at sea for 6 months. One of our warships, he sent them from Venezuela, which, again, they were there illegally, and sent them to Iran. And so what's happened was, these people, they're now furious, and like the toilets are clogged, there's a backup of sewage, it's a total mess. All the sailors on the ship want to go home, none of them want to be there, they're missing funerals, one of them missed the birth of his kid, they're missing their spouses, like, they're furious. They thought they were gone for 6 months, they've been gone for 11 months, and now they might die in a fucking war for Israel, which none of them want to do. So, come to find out, it's a mutiny. They are putting their t-shirts down the toilet and flushing it, and making everything flood and making there be a sewage backup because it's a mutiny. They don't want to be there, and this is their way of expressing that they're against this, okay? We also have a warning that we don't have the missiles, the bombs, and the interceptors that we would need in order to actually do a war against Iran. Some of our generals are now whispering to the media and saying, we don't have what we need because we've given so many weapons and so much money to Ukraine and Israel that we don't have what we need. We can only do, a sustained bombing thing for maybe 5 days or so. And remember, Iran's a country of 90 million people. It's 4 times bigger than Iraq. It is way more developed, and the government is way more intelligent. They're throughout the country now. They're not like sitting ducks in one spot. So this is not going to go smoothly. And now you're getting all these articles where you have people at the highest level of government, maybe even some within the Trump regime, are going, it's going to be a disaster, and I want nothing to do with this. So it's interesting that all that's coming out right now. Now, by the way, Trump also today met with some politicians, and he said the following, ready? Important negotiations Thursday in Geneva. Iran desperately wants a deal, but Iran just can't say the sacred phrase, we won't build nuclear weapons. So Trump says today that Iran says they refuse to say we won't build nuclear weapons. Okay? You ready for this? Literally today, the Iranian foreign minister says the following, quote, Iran will under no circumstances ever develop a nuclear weapon. So the thing Trump says they're not saying is literally the exact thing they did say. Not only that, guys, they've always said this. They've always said, we don't want nuclear weapons. We view nuclear weapons as un-Islamic. They think it's against their faith. And so they say it all the time. You're just not listening. And the reason he's not listening is because they want to do regime change. They're warmongers. They're imperialists. They want to do regime change. Netanyahu, of course, wants this more than anybody else. And he is going crazy. And he, of course, bought the U.S. government. They bought Donald Trump. Trump's doing their bidding. And also, Trump never been a war he didn't like. He just lies half the time and pretends like he's anti-war while he launches 7 different wars. So just incredibly, incredibly dishonest from the president there. There's also some horrific news here that I'll share with you. PBS is saying that Trump's State of the Union will be over 2 hours, with one source saying it could go up to 3 hours. So I am not looking forward to that, bro. I'm really not. It's my job. I have to watch it, so I'm going to watch it. I'm going to struggle. I'm going to suffer, so you don't have to. You can come check out us afterwards. I don't know if I'm going to do it either immediately after tonight or if I'm going to do my breakdown tomorrow, but it'll be one or the other. But we'll do it. But goddamn, I am not looking forward to that at all. By the way, Fox News is saying that they learned in advance one of the things Trump will call for in his speech tonight is new corporate tax cuts. I'm sorry, man. Literally everything the Republican Party does, everything MAGA does, is to suck off pedophile billionaires. Like, the whole point, all of right-wing politics, is about sucking off the billionaire class, giving them all the money, giving them all the power, being massive warmongers, massive imperialists, massive fascists. There's not a single redeeming quality on the right, not a single one. At a time, Trump kicked 18 million people off their Medicaid, okay? You have all these people losing their health care. Up to 700 rural hospitals are shutting down. So he is literally stealing from the poor and giving to the rich in terms of corporate tax cuts and billionaire tax cuts. He already did those, and he wants to do more of those. Just so disturbing. And while I have you here, I'll give you a little bit of insight in what we know we're going to get tonight. And Jamie Bonkowitz, shout out to him because he made this point on Twitter. He says the following. I'll save you some time when it comes to the State of the Union. Trump's going to say, it's Joe Biden's fault. Everything is Joe Biden's fault. And I'm going to say that 48 times. So you're going to get that. You're going to get transgender for everyone. At some point, he's going to say transgender for everyone or something like that, okay? He's going to talk about prescription drugs have gone down 1,600%. That's how much they've gone down. He'll lie about that. He'll say tariffs are making us rich. He'll talk about the border invasion or that, whatever, he totally shut down the border. He'll say, we're the hottest country in the world. He loves to say that shit. If he's really feeling saucy, he might say Canada's our 51st state. He might say some bullshit about Greenland. He's definitely going to say, nobody's ever seen anything like it before, because he loves saying that. He'll, of course, say fake news. He'll blame Joe Biden again. He'll say witch hunt. He'll say rigged election. It was a rigged election. He'll say, I know more than everything. I know more about everything than anybody. He'll say, it's the greatest economy. The Dow's over 50,000. Greatest economy ever. It's the greatest economy anybody's ever seen. And so that's what, it's going to be a lie fest. It's going to be 2 to 3 hours of nothing but relentless lies. And that's why it's going to be fucking insufferable. He's at a 36% approval rating. Inflation's out of control. Unemployment's out of control. People are losing their health care. They're watching this asshole try to build a fucking Epstein memorial ballroom. They're watching him try to build an Arc de Trump. They're watching him slap his name on the Trump Kennedy Center. They're watching him go full malignant narcissist. At the same time, they can't pay the fucking bills. And he's also launching a new war every other week. Whether he's given $40 billion to Argentina for no goddamn reason. The guy who runs that country is a total psychopath. So why not give him money, right? At the same time, you kick 18 million people off their Medicaid here in this country. So people are furious. And that's why he's cooked. He's cooked. And so it's going to be a lie fest. We already know that up front. But I don't know how much more of this shit I can take, y'all. I don't know how much more of it I can take. But like I said, tune in. I'll either do a little breakdown after the speech is done tonight, or I might wait till tomorrow to do it. But prepare yourself. I would highly recommend, to protect your mental health, pass on watching this one. I'll take the bullets for you.